been notified at the 10-minute mark, the 5-minute mark, 2-minute mark, 1-minute mark, the 30-second mark, after which a 5-minute question period will begin. You may begin already.
Good morning, judges and attendees. My name is Josh Dublin, a representative from the Elite Sticks and Stones Marketing Program. To my left is Lacey White and Jerry Sprague. This is our case presentation on the goal line curling.
Good morning. We're going to start off with a little brief introduction. The Gold Line Curling is a family-owned and operated business since 1967, so it's well established and well aware of the specific market of curling. They operate based on the true values of curling and what it speaks for, which is honor, integrity, and respect. The game is played by people who find the respect the most important part of their game. They also are the largest supplier and producer of curling equipment, so they're already dominating this market. And they need to keep that focus going forward when evaluating some implementation strategies to continue this success. 98% of the sales come from recreational players. This is a key component to our recommendations and to our analysis of this case. Why? Because we don't want to only focus on people who practice and play curling in a professional manner. The recreational sales is dominating our profit and our revenue. Recreational players deserve elite products. So we are testing our products with elite members, but we want to focus on the recreational players and meet their needs and make them feel like they are also just as important as the people who are competing professionally. And this extends onto our target market. So we have Joshua and Lucy. They're married, they're in their 50s, and they play curling together on the weekends with their friends and their family members. It's an important part of their lifestyle, and they take it very seriously. They're committed to playing, and they are committed to having the best products to enjoy their game and their sport. So they're Toronto residents, and they have a bachelor degree. This is just to demonstrate that they have a solid income combined, that they could afford top quality products. And they want top quality products because they enjoy this game. It's a big part of their life, and it's a big investment to be committed to. $200,000 household supports that, and their community involvement. These are people who operate naturally in their life on the same respected values that curling has. They're supportive of their community, they're honest people, they value respect, they value honesty and fair game in their personal life and in their sporting game.
So now taking a look at the situation analysis, we broke it down to internal influences and external influences. Starting with the internal, for the pros, the company has been operating in the curling industry since 1967, which is a long time, so they have the dedicated relationship to the curling community. They're the largest supplier in the curling market. Being the market leader would be a dominant factor of the strengths of an internal resource. They've tested the products with elite players, so the elite players know their products, and that gives a representation to the recreational players who see the elite players using the products. They have a large advertising budget, which is $200,000, pretty significant to get the word out of the products. The cons of the internal influences is that there's no apparel or accessories, so they're lacking against the competition. They had a failed relationship with a Canadian distributor, so now they have to obtain their products from overseas from China. And that brushes only contribute to 25% of the annual revenue. For the external influences, there's 1,300 curling clubs in Canada, which is a huge opportunity to grow the products. They have sponsored curling teams on a national level through the Grand Tournament. They have the lightest brush in the market. When it comes to curling, you really need to sweep the rock. It all comes down to the friction that you apply with the broom to the ice, and the more force you give to the broom, the quicker the rock will go, the longer it will go, and the lighter the brush, the more friction you can remove from the ice. The cons of the external influences is strong competition. There's 7 curling competitors, which is still small competition for the market, but the competition is strong. There's Olsen that has clothing and many more other products. The pad that they use for their broom is non-aggressive, which is a con because all the other brands are using the aggressive broom that can help steer the rock when using in curling.
The problem statement that we feel represents the information that we have been given is how can Goldline establish a competitive advantage while upholding the values of the game? Their competitors are trying to disrespect the game by creating a broom that's essentially, it's not respectful towards the game, it's not representing integrity, which is all about this company. That's their core values. And we want to be the best, so we have to be different. The objectives are to offer revolutionary products. We have to be the newest, we have to be the best. We want to honor the spirit of curling because that's what this company is based upon. It was created on those values and that's what we're going to continue with. Obviously, we have an excellent reputation because of that. We want to sustain our market position. We want to continue to be the best. We are the leader in this industry as well. We want to quadruple sales, and if we're going to do that, we have to do something different. Obviously, if we're not meeting those needs, we have to find another avenue to do so. And our positioning statement is to provide elite and recreational curlers with premium products that uphold the values of the sport. So as Lacey pointed out, just because you're a recreational user, it means that you deserve to have elite products. There's a lot behind brand names. That's why runners wear Nike. That's why people who do yoga wear Lululemon. They're wearing the best of the best because they want to be the best. Just because it's fun and games and it's a community sport, they still deserve the top of the line products and equipment.
So we performed a quick break-even analysis on the brush sales. If you're going to sell the carbon fiber unit with a $230,000 fixed cost, $200,000 coming from the advertising budget, and the $30,000 used to implement the cost to build the brushes, we found out that for the carbon fiber, you would have to sell 1,438 units to break even. For the composite, which was the 99.95 one, you would have to sell 2,302 units. And for the fiberglass, retail price is $79.95, you would have to sell 2,877 units, which brush sales only contribute to 25% of the annual sales. So now we'll be looking at the alternatives that we presented.
So our first alternative is the team apparel line. As Jody explained, brands are associated with certain activities. When I think of a runner, I think of Nike. I think of their commercials and how they brand themselves to provide the best equipment for people who want to run. And the same with Lululemon is the other example. When I think of yoga wear, everybody thinks of Lululemon. Well, we want the Goldline to be thought of as the clothing wear. Goldline clothing is going to scream curlers. We want everybody in the industry to rock our brand. So the pros of this would be the clubs have many teams. So there's so many teams. I think there's like 1,300 teams.
1,300 clubs.
1,300 clubs. That's a big market to attack and try to get them involved with our line. You know, we could have people in the Olympics wearing our line. There's lots of advantages there. Fashion is very important to people. It reflects who they are. So if they're wearing a brand that's going to speak to their team and speak to their fashion sense, it's important to people. People care what they wear, and it reflects a big part of who they are. The opportunity to partner up with certain brands. Maybe Lulu would introduce a brand that would be supportive of curling. It's an opportunity, doesn't have to be where we take it. Test marketing, it's important that we don't have to dive in and invest a lot of money into the product line immediately. We can test it with a small line, give it to a few athletes, have them support the line and see where it goes from there. So test marketing is going to be a huge advantage. The personalization, it seems to me from the case that a lot of people care about personalizing their gear and what they wear, and we're going to have that option in this line. The cons is that it could be costly. Again, why we suggest maybe doing some test marketing to test how this product might work. And to find a trusted clothing line can be hard. Not everybody can live up to those standards, so it is a tough market to dominate. It's not going to be a walk in the park, but it's definitely a challenge that this company has to at least try to take on if they want to dominate all aspects of the industry. It's important.
I would like to add that the apparel line also includes shoes, customized shoes, because as projected in the case, it says that it can represent up to 33% of the market, which is untapped, and that is where the test marketing comes into. We have to see why people don't want specific shoes. Like, why has this company not attempted this before? That's what we're trying to figure out here, because it's a large portion of the market. We're talking about brooms being 25%. Well, there's another 33% that has not even been touched, but why? And that's what we want to figure out with the apparel line as well.
So we thought too, for another alternative, to have a Canadian manufacturer, due to the disappointment that they lost their first one, and now they're receiving the products from overseas. We thought a pro of this would be that buying Canadian, a lot of people love to support the local economy. It's a trend. Having a Canadian product would be beneficial to this company. It would save on shipping. You're not paying for overseas, you're not importing your goods, it's coming from Canada. You're representing Canada, it's coming from Canada, staying in Canada. The cons would be that it's like cost in time and money. So it would cost time to find a Canadian manufacturer, and it would cost a lot of money to keep an established relationship with this manufacturer. Smaller margins because, once again, it's mostly expensive to have products made in Canada. So you're going to have to reduce your price to move the product, so you would have a smaller margin. And if you scrap the idea of having the overseas, it would be a loss investment of $30K. For the online retail, this is the third alternative. We thought having an online retail distributor would be beneficial to the company because you'd be reaching a larger market, sending your product, like selling your product online. You could be able to tap across the whole world. It's an opportunity to grow the company, having more sales, giving the company more money to produce more products, and you can catch up to the competition. They're still the market leader, but the other competition, they're starting to take an advantage and starting to gain ground. We want Goldline to remain the market leader. The cons would be the cost of development to develop a website, find a shipping company to distribute the products, and if you operate online, you lose that connection with the customer. Curlers are very personal with their items, and to have that one-on-one conversation, to try on shoes, to try the brush in person, you're losing that connection. So right now, here's our decision analysis. We broke it down to our objectives here. We thought the quadruple sales budget was an obvious objective and could be obtained through all these. So for the objectives of offering revolutionary products, for the Team Apparel line, we gave it a 4, break on a scale of 1 to 5. 4 being important because if you're offering revolutionary products like personalized shoes or slogans on your sleeves, that separates you and gives your Team Apparel line beneficial. For the Canadian manufacturer offering revolutionary products, once again, it's hard to find Canadian-made products, and having a Canadian manufacturer would benefit the revolutionary products. We gave it a 3 for an online retail because, once again, you're still serving online. You're missing that person-to-person communication, but it's still a revolutionary product, so we give it a little bit of a lower scale. Honors the spirit of curling for the Team Apparel line. People love authentic stuff, and staying authentic would remain core to the values of curling and the company. For the Canadian manufacturer, people love local, people love curling, honoring the spirit of supporting local, staying true, which is a value to curlers. Online retailer, you're still losing, once again, you're losing that connection. If you lose the connection to the person, it's going to tarnish the company, and it tarnishes the game. So we gave that a 3. And sustaining the market position, the Team Apparel line, to dominate the industry and personalizing items and offering shoes and clothing, we gave that a 5. That was sustain the market position and dominate the industry. Canadian manufacturer, we gave it a 3 because sustain the market position. People might buy the Canadian product, but they might differ off and save money by buying from a non-Canadian manufacturer. So that would not help the market position. And online retailer, once again, you're offering more products and more people. More people can produce more revenue, which would help sustain the market position. For a total, we gave the Team Apparel line a 13, Canadian manufacturer 11, and online retail 10.
So for our recommendation after our evaluation, we did decide to go with the product line. How can Goldline establish a competitive advantage while upholding the respect of the game? Nobody's dominating the clothing line right now. There's our competitive advantage. As we said before, clothing connects people. It gives a sense of personalization. That's what people want. That's what we're going to give them. We recommend that Goldline to establish an apparel line selling shoes and clothing. I know that in the case, it said they have a hard time getting teams to commit to a shoe. So we do have some implementation strategies that we'll go forward with as well.
For our implementation, we would like to do a go for the gold campaign, playing off the gold line name. Anyone can bring home the gold with gold line curling because everyone deserves to feel like an Olympian. And we said this because back when we had the Canadian Olympics and we did the I Believe campaign, that touched Canada. That's what curlers feel when they're curling. It's a sense of community, it's a sense of belonging, and it's a national pride to be a curler. That's why we want to put behind market research into our shoe and apparel line. Because there has to be a reason they haven't done shoes yet. So you want to do it right the first time. You want to talk to people, what do you want customized about your shoes? What do you want personalized? And the curler can tell you that. That's why we want to talk to the people who are going to use these products. We agree that YouTube, they've already been advertising through YouTube and they are excellent on social media. So they need to use that. YouTube should show an everyday person throwing a stone and playing curling, and then there needs to be something at the end that makes them feel proud that they've accomplished that, or that they're a part of that. They also need to showcase at the Grand Slam tournaments and at their Calgary retail store. We could do a soft opening, see if people are interested. After you do your market research, start with one location. This can grow.
And just to elaborate, there's a huge budget set aside for the campaign. I think $200,000, and 50% of that was going to the brushes, but only 25% of your sales is even coming from your brushes. So why not take some of that money and put a lot of investment, a lot of time into this market research? Because if you're going to do this, you have to really make it big, or it's a waste of your time, and you could flop and it would almost look bad on the company. So it definitely should be taken very seriously, and we should take some of that campaign money and invest it in time and money into making this product, like we said, you know, the Lululemon for the curling industry.
So our evaluation, we decided that we would look at the seasons. So a curling season begins on Labor Day and it ends the end of April, like April 30th. And after that season, we want 100 teams to at least be interested. Out of all the curling clubs that are in Canada, 1,300. I don't think that it's too much to ask that at least 100 teams are interested in this, just to spark something. Because once one team starts, you know, the clubs, they're gonna grow. Like, oh, you have these new snazzy uniforms. Well, I want snazzy uniforms as well. And then we're gonna be talking about shoes. Word of mouth is huge. Back to this community thing. People won't be able to keep their mouths shut about the services that we will now offer, or the products that we will now offer. As well, we want to look at a company like Salesforce that monitors social media. If they're so active on their social media, I think that that's a great investment. See how many people are liking and sharing your Twitter posts, your Facebook feeds, your advertisements on YouTube. See how many people are watching that. And a company like Salesforce can help no matter what your budget is. I mean, they're willing to work around you. They're also one of the leading companies in the world. They're one of the top 10 companies. So if you're going to put your money into an investment, you want it to be Salesforce.
In conclusion, go big or go home. As we said, we want to invest big. We want to do this right the first time. It needs to represent our company. We are the biggest in the industry. So if we're going to take on a new challenge, we need to do it right and do it right the first time. Extensive time and money into the market research. You might wonder why we didn't, the whole case seemed to discuss the brush. And we've steered away from that because we can see that other industries or other competitors are trying to get an advantage over the brush. But you can't toy with someone's values. If a true curler believes in the fairness of the game, they're gonna buy our brush because that's the brush we're making. If someone just wants to win, then they're gonna go for the alternative brush. I don't think the brush is gonna make or break an industry or make a stamp in the industry of something new. So that's why we've taken a different approach. We wanna build our brand. We're already making brushes. We tried a brush that didn't work out. Now we're going with China. We can always implement a new brush at any time. I'm sure that they can come up with that again. We want something new, and we wanna be the face of the brand of the entire, for all curlers, especially across Canada, because it's the biggest market. But heck with that, go big, so we want the entire world to wear our brand. That's the end. Thank you.
The 5-minute question period will now begin.
I have a question regarding your alternatives. So one of your alternatives, well, the one that you chose was the Team Apparel line, and you had one that was regarding online retail. And I'm curious why do you consider them opposing alternatives instead of complementary alternatives?
The truth is we didn't at first.
We had them all together.
We
It was this massive thing. And then we were like, oh, is it too much?
Yeah.
Because we fully agree that they should be online. Like that's a no matter what. Because I don't understand why somebody wouldn't be online in today's day and age. Especially if we happen to work out this customized shoe, and if it's able to be customized online, absolutely. I agree that you lose connection with your customers and stuff, but the
It's 2017.
Yeah, it's 2017. The connection with your customers is going to be with each other. It's going to be with two curlers who are all like, oh, hey, like, I love your shoes. Where did you get them? Online. Like, we wanted them to be the same, honestly. And
We
then
agreed that all three alternatives
Yeah.
should have the online distribution. It seemed like a no-brainer. It seemed very odd to me that they were already doing that. The competitors are doing that. I don't know many industries that you can't purchase online. So I guess we should have just had it in there. But without a doubt, we thought all three alternatives should have an online presence. You should be able to
that was
buy
so
it.
funny. We debated it for a
We
while.
just didn't want to overwhelm you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So your solution to the problem of the competitive brush is to give up the brush line and focus on clothing.
Give up the brush.
No.
What, sorry?
Give up the brush line. In other words, don't focus on the brush line
Yes, sir.
and focus on your clothing. Why do you think that would work?
As I said just a moment ago in the conclusion, it seems that there's a lot of controversy around what matters to a curler as far as a brush goes. Some people are playing this sport and they want to win at the sport. So they're gonna buy the brush that has the higher advantage of winning, which is the brush that's compromising the values of the company. Our company's already made the decision to withhold the values of curling and make a brush that meets the standards, that doesn't compromise the game or give the curler an advantage. So we just thought it would be more important if the 25% is bringing in revenue from brushes, that there's a bigger picture to look at than the brush, because I think if someone who really grew up playing curling, knows the background, knows the values, and what matters in that sport, is still gonna support our brush.
Also, just in a business aspect, so our competition is essentially underwriting us. Like, we can, if people choose to use that room and they essentially want to cheat and make it easier to play the game so you don't have to be an elite athlete, we have to do something different. You cannot compete with the mindset of people who want to play the game differently, for a different purpose. They're not playing for the honor and integrity, they're playing to win. And that's why we have to go different. Something completely different. We have an honorable brush, it works excellent, but it's really hard to market that against something that's undercutting us.
Personally too, I've curled for 12 years, and I know the game pretty detailed. And most clubs have at least 40 brushes to rent out. And like I said, that 98% of your sales come from recreational users. People talk about other people's clothing. People talk about other shoes. People want input on their shoes before they make a decision. And to go to the apparel line and the shoes, we thought it'd be more beneficial to the company.
And if it's one-stop shopping, if I'm buying my clothes there, my shoes there, I'm probably gonna buy my brush there.
I suppose the question really is, to what extent would Doug Flowers accept your recommendation? You are telling him to change the focus of this business completely. You are telling him, don't focus on the $1.7 million that come from brushes. You're not giving it up, but don't focus on that.
Yeah, definitely don't give it up.
Focus on clothing. That's the first issue. The other, after doing this for how many years? The other issue is, to what extent do people purchase from whole line clothing because it's a full line clothing? In other words, they sell brushes, clothing, and shoes. Or to what extent do you simply just go to buy the brand? In other words, to what extent will you diminish the brand if he no longer sells brushes and he's simply a clothing and a shoe store? These are recreational players. To what extent do recreational players, I have never curling, I've never curled. To what extent do recreational players put a lot of emphasis on clothing as opposed to the professionals? It's a completely, it's a 180-degree turn in the focus of business.
Right, great. Can I ask you a question? Sure. Do you participate in any sport?
Yeah,
What sport?
soccer.
Soccer. I don't know a lot about soccer, or apparel, or even the game itself, but I can give you from...
Players now.
Pardon? Oh, can I not answer the question? No?
I'll eat you for lunch.
I have a good answer. You can continue, but please let me answer this. Anyway,
I'll eat you for lunch.
I'll be quiet then.
No reason.
That's gonna kill me till lunchtime.
so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, have a good day.